Hey everyone, it's MK. Welcome back for my weekly live feed. Gosh, I realized it was Thursday afternoon, late in the day, and I hadn't done my update yet. So I thought I would just hop on really quick. I've got my list for today, so let's get going. So the first thing is my latest monthly newsletter, my email newsletter has hit the internet, the airwaves. And so I just want to remind you guys to pass along my newsletter to other owners or share it on other groups or whatnot, because every newsletter that I send out, I pick up new people that are not on Facebook, okay? And so we are trying, Mr. MK and I are trying to reach people that are not finding me through Facebook alone, okay? So that's one of the main reasons we started the newsletter. And remember, you can always get the past issues of the newsletter. You can get those after the fact. You just hop on over to mkquilts.com, and of course that is the same place that you sign up to receive the newsletter, okay? So I appreciate you sharing with other users about MK and Mr. MK and the services that we're trying to provide, and just go ahead and share that newsletter. Of course, share all of my social media sites, and I look forward to getting more people plugged into me, as always. All right. So speaking of Mr. MK, I just wanted to remind all of you that he has really stepped it up in the last several months and has been helping me a lot more on the technical side. Of course, he's always been helping me in that regard, but he's added some of his own services to MK Quilts for tech support. So let's just talk about that a little bit. So I've mentioned before that Paul's background is, of course, in computers, and he's just a wealth of knowledge. He's been a backup and a data protection guy for a long time. But he also has been offering services to my clients, most specifically my students who have taken some of my online instruction. He's kind of expanded that to helping all of you when it comes to computer choices, and helping you to do some of your updates, helping you to get some of your simulators downloaded onto your devices. He's been actually working with people all over the world on tech solutions, okay? So that is one of the things that I want you guys to keep in mind if you are just needing some extra help in the area of computer support. Now, mostly what he's doing is helping me with these handy quilter related items, right? The Pro Stitcher and simulation and that type of things. But he's also available to be hired to help you with making computer decisions. Maybe you need to buy a new computer and you just aren't sure about that. He's already helped a couple of people that live nowhere near us make decisions about purchasing a computer. He's even helped people do all of their initial setup with their computer. So in other words, I'm not going to name people by name because I don't have permission to do that, but basically the person has purchased their computer, had it sent directly to Paul, and he can go through and get that thing all set up and help you, do whatever updates and get whatever virus protection, and all of that kind of stuff. He can help you get that set up, and then of course he can walk you through getting the simulator and all that downloaded. Okay, so those are services that we have added to MK Quilts. There are some fees for that, for his time and his expertise, but I want you to hop on over to MK Quilts and specifically look under the blog area and for Mr. MK's tech advice. And we have a new program that he started for the services and his fees for that. Okay, so he's really a good one to work with to help you through some of those things. I am just blessed beyond belief to have him as my life partner, but to have him as my chief technical officer here at MK Quilts. All right, okay. And then let's talk a little bit about MK support. So when you follow me, and specifically when you purchase any of my content, any of my videos, my training sessions that I have been renting over on my hosting site, any of that, you become my client, right? And I want to make sure that you don't have any problems viewing that. If you have questions, you can always reach out to me. Now that, of course, that really relates to everybody, okay? I'm here, this is my love. I love Pro Stitcher, and I love helping anybody who's out there. And I try to do a lot of posting on my free social media sites, my YouTube. I try to answer questions on the Posse and on my Sim group. But of course I am doing this to make a living also. And so any of my for sale or for rent content, if you purchase that, then you're my client, and we're gonna help you through that if you have any problems, or if you have suggestions, or if you watch the content and you just didn't catch that, or you're confused. Of course you can reach out to me, and I'm going to try to help you through that. Now, as a follow-up to that type of a support, there have been times when you've just needed a little something extra. Okay, you just need a little one-on-one support. And I haven't been doing as much of that recently just because I've been so darn busy. But I want you guys to know that you can always reach out to me, and we can set up some private one-on-one instruction. I do have fees for that, and we'll work that through. I'm not out there to gouge anybody. Please understand. But when you take me away from my quilting time and it's one-on-one private instruction, then it is instruction. Okay, so I'm completely open to doing that, and I want to do that, and that's my love. Okay, so just reach out to me. I try to give as much support as I can, and I don't know it all. I don't know everything. It's, as I call it all the time, it's the MK way. It's just the way that I have learned from different events that I've gone to, stuff that I've learned watching YouTube, just stuff that I have figured out in 9.5 years of being a Pro Stitcher owner. Okay, so much of my instruction, I think those of you who have purchased it or taken my online classes know that much of my instruction is just very nuts and bolts kind of instruction. This is how you do it. This is how I do it. And so it's, sometimes it may not be the fanciest thing you're ever going to design in Art and Stitch or something like that, but it's going to be, you've got a quilt, you need to know how to approach it, let's set it up, let me give you tips on how to stitch it out and all of that. So very concrete, day-to-day, usable kind of information. That's what I'm about. All right? Okay, next, YouTube. Speaking of YouTube, so just before I hopped on for this live feed, I just finished up some intake, outtake, spoken words for my next YouTube video. And so hopefully that's going to be up in a day or two. And just as many of these things do, this video came about because my video contributor and dear friend Paula Jo Cedarquist posted something yesterday. She gave me a shout out. She thought I might have some tips and techniques that related to what she was doing. So her and I have just really quickly spoken about this. She's given me permission to use what she put out there yesterday. I'm going to do a YouTube video on it, and probably won't be able to do that screen capture till tonight or tomorrow, but it was an easy one. And just like it happens so many times, when something comes up and I have these aha moments, or I work through whatever it is I'm working through, well, I want to share that with you. Okay, and this is a pretty simple one, but I think you're gonna like it. All right, so keep watching me on YouTube. That should be up in a couple of days. All right, that leads me to my next topic, which is print material. And I held on to it today because I've forgotten to mention it the last few weeks in my live feed, is that I still have ongoing the service on MK Quilts to get yourself a new Pro Stitcher Premium manual printed. Okay, so I have a print source. I don't do that myself. I don't have time for that. But I have a really, really awesome print source that's all tied in through MK Quilts. You just hop on over there. You can order up your print manuals, and this includes the new Pro Stitcher Premium manual and the new Art and Stitch manual, okay? And there's a couple different options. You can have it hole punched, or you can have it bound, whatever you want. You just order it up, and my print source sends it directly to you, okay? So that is ongoing, and my source is really awesome. And he's done some other print work for me too. The little sheet that I'm holding today is kind of a little intake sheet that I use here at MK Quilts. It just helps me take notes when a client comes in. It's not the actual invoice that they get, but it's really kind of a cool sheet that I developed. So my print source is awesome. If you want more information about that, maybe for your business or something that you want printed, he's done my business cards and all kinds of stuff. I'd be happy to pass that information along to you. Okay, and then as it relates to print material, I wanted to talk about this really quickly. Oh, a couple of weeks ago, I did a really quick YouTube where I talked about changes that you can make, adjustments that you can make to speed profile. And a lot of people really were like, oh wow, I didn't know that I could do that, and that was very helpful. So I play with my speed profiles a lot on both my machines because it really just depends on what I'm stitching. Some patterns just react differently, and so don't be afraid to go into that advanced mode and go to the speed profile and just tweak that a little bit. It can make a lot of difference. But after I posted that video, I had somebody ask me about the motor torque settings. Now, motor torque is one of those things that you want to be very careful with. And how this relates back to the print material is when I got that question, I was like, oh, that's a very, it's kind of an engineering type of a function there, and you want to be a little bit careful with it. So I went to my print manual and I looked up some of the information, and there's really good 2 pages of information about the motor torque functionality. Okay, one of the main things that it says in big letters is that you want to be careful about changing that. You may want to make sure that you're only changing that if a tech, like somebody in Tech Solutions out at HQ, tells you to change it. But there is a section over here that kind of explains about what it is, and I just suggest that you go through page 150 and 151 on the motor torque. You can tweak that setting a little bit, but this is the MK way of understanding motor torque, and it maybe seems a little bit counterintuitive to what you think it might be. You may think if you increase the motor torque, that's actually a good thing. It's going to be giving you more oomph or more, gusto behind your machine. But what it's really doing is it's making it more sensitive to, what does it say in here? It's increasing it means that the Pro Stitcher motor will be less responsive to obstructions. So basically that means if it encounters something, or like your machine hits your rail, or there's an obstruction on your machine, if you increase the motor torque, it's going to keep pushing on that harder. It's just going to try to keep going over that bump in the road, right? And that's not necessarily what you want. The motor torque was put in there to be a protection for our machines. And if you've been an owner a long time like I have, you remember the days when your machine hit the rail and it just kept going, right? Until you ran over there and then you were like all freaked out. And the motor torque is an awesome thing now. You can get it to that sweet setting, and if your machine hits something, it's just going to disengage and it's just going to protect your machine. Okay, so motor torque's an awesome thing. Just be careful about adjusting that and check your print source, which you can get from MK. All right, okay. And lastly, today, I just want to remind you that my in-home sessions, I still have openings for that. And then this week I got 2 invitations actually. I got somebody from Sarasota, Florida, here very close to where I live, reached out and asked me if I could come down there. Now, she's not able to host is the only thing. So if you're in Florida, south of the Bay, south of Tampa Bay, in the Sarasota, Bradenton area, and you would be willing to work something out with me, that is a very close to home event for me. So I could probably put that together on pretty short notice and just buzz down there and do a day training. Okay, so just give me a buzz if you're willing to help me coordinate something in the Sarasota, Bradenton area. And then I had another person reach out to me. She lives in the Nashville, Tennessee area, and she is able to host me in her studio. So we're just putting feelers out there, and this is kind of how I do it, you guys. As an independent person, if I find somebody that wants to have me, I will try to work it out to go. But I need to get an idea of who else is interested, right? And to make that affordable and worthwhile, and for me to travel around the country. Okay, so Sarasota, Florida, Nashville, Tennessee, I'm completely open to going those places. Sarasota could be a summer thing. I could probably fit that in July-ish. The Nashville event, we're actually kicking around maybe the first week in November for Nashville. Okay, so that's that. And then, of course, the other 2 that I have coming up are still have spaces available. That is for the Las Vegas. I'm going out to see my daughter. That is in August. And then the other one is in Georgia, and that one is in September. Okay, all the details over on mkquilts.com. So come on and join me for those. Those are so much fun. Okay, we're going to end today with what's on the machine. And this is actually a rarity. This does not happen very often here at MK Quilts. What do we have over on here on McFinity? Nothing. What do we got over here on McFusion? Nothing. I am between quilts right now, and that hardly ever happens. Actually, just earlier today I had 2 quilts on, and they are both for one client. So I finished them up at the same time, and I'm ready to get to the next quilt. So I gotta run, you guys. Thank you for joining me as always. I appreciate you being a follower. I appreciate your business. Check out Mr. MK's services for tech support over on mkquilts.com. And until next time, everybody, from my studio to yours, happy quilting. Bye-bye.